So this is edible cutlery. It's our prime product that we deal in, and these are 100% vegan, biodegradable, natural, and absolutely delicious cutlery that we have put forth as an alternative to plastic cutlery, because as we know, it's one of the most major pollutants in the world today, and we envision a future where there is no plastic cutlery and edible cutlery will become the norm.
So we start out with really basic and completely natural ingredients. We use whole grain flours and water to make this, and we use an oven to bake it like you would bake a cookie, and we use a makeshift mold to ensure that the shape of the spoon is consistent, and that's how it's made. Essentially, the first thing that comes into the picture is looking at the life cycle assessment, looking at from starting with since our product is made of like whole grain flours, we look at how it's cultivated, if there are sustainable practices involved, how the grains are sourced, and how the flour is made, what kind of energy are you using, is it clean energy? So you're looking at essentially every step of the process, right, from sourcing all the way to its disposal. So the part where we're most involved is obviously in the making of the spoon itself, and that's what's in our control. So right now we're trying to make that as sustainable as possible by using completely natural ingredients, of course, and we plan to use biodegradable packaging as well, and we ensure that our cutlery does not end up in landfills, rather it goes to a compost where it's entirely composted with other food waste. So we also partner specifically with restaurants currently who have food waste infrastructure in their in their restaurants, and we make sure that the cutlery is fully composted and is used as manure instead of just ending up in landfills.
B2B business is actually getting that one consumer on ground, because once you have that one restaurant or one central kitchen that's with you, then everything's sorted. But hence the biggest challenge is also getting that one person on your side. It's not like conventional market. You can't just go out and start selling it and slowly have operations running. You want to find that restaurant and convince them of your quality, work with them over time, and stakeholder process is much more connected with the consumer. So for example, when it comes to flavoring, the sea salt and olive oil flavor, this has come with collaboration with the restaurants. Every restaurant may have different tastes, may have different needs, and we want to make sure we cater to them individually. So that's, I think, the biggest challenge, making sure that you're perfectly fitting that particular stakeholder.
Also, to reach out to businesses, it's a task in itself, because like for consumers there are orthodox channels like social media or your own website where you can scale up from, but with businesses, word of mouth plays a very important role. So channels also differ, and the conventional channels are not so efficient when it comes to B2B.
It's all about taking that proactive approach. When it comes to B2B, you can't just advertise your product and sit back and wait for the consumers to come in. You have to keep working with them until that.
You have to seek them instead of them seeking you.
Right.
So all of our capital has currently come from winning entrepreneurship and idea competitions. We participated in a host of them, starting with the HKUST Sino $1 million competition, which served as our initial seed fund of $25,000. Then we participated in Entrepreneurship Center's own social entrepreneurship challenge, where we won more funding, and very recently we participated in the Connect C4C challenge, which we fortunately won, and I think that has been our main source of capital. In the future, however, we are looking to get our capital through major competitions which have a funding pool which is significantly larger, and also reach out to investors who specifically invest in sustainable ventures and are focused on getting ventures like ours off the ground and make real impact. That's where we're looking to head.
For example, very recently we actually even reached the final stage of scale-up funding with WUFO Climate Action Recognition Scheme in partnership with the Hong Kong government and the SDG Hub. So that was a funding for $180,000. So I think there are a lot of opportunities abound for this kind of work. So our main focus is to keep working well and presenting it out there, and the funding will come in. Certainly there are always differing opinions, because I think we're all very motivated and passionate about taking this somewhere, and we all believe in the idea. So obviously, naturally, based on experiences and based on approaches, we all have different ideas to go forward with. but we like to take a structured approach instead of there being any resentment or any kind of argument going forward. We are friends first. So every week we meet, we probably hash out the sprint for what we're going to do next 2 weeks, the scrum every week, just to make sure we're all on the same page, and we have healthy discussions about where to take it forward. And I think in the end, all of us make compromises, and all of us end up agreeing to one thing that we think is the best course for Planeteers going forward.
I think as long as you are united by the vision of Planeteers and where the company you see headed, so the path you take might differ, but the destination is the same. So I think that is important to keep in mind, and I think effective communication is one important aspect, making sure you're on the same page. So we deploy our workflow is such that we on a weekly basis we come together to ensure that we are on the same page. So I think that really helps.
I think if you want an example of one of the healthy discussions or healthy arguments that we had, and I think I learned a lot from that personally, and I think we all had something to take from that. Initially, when we were kind of inventing the product and we were trying different ingredients, I was personally, because I'm really focused on health, I was trying to make the product as healthy as possible. But striking that perfect balance between the texture, the taste, and making it healthy is really difficult, because most of the health-focused ingredients are not what most of the mainstream market requires. So kind of prioritizing what the consumers want is definitely, so you follow the demand, right? And I think that's what I learned from both Swapnil and Srijan. I decided to forego being extremely overly healthy. This is still much healthier than plastic. I mean, we're stopping carcinogenic consumption. That's already healthy enough. So I cut that back, and I agreed to go with something which matches the taste and the consumer needs, and go forward with this product that we currently have.
And I think as a part of that compromise, personally I wasn't really focused too much on health, but the product that we have right now, it's a mix of both viewpoints. It is good taste, good texture, financially feasible in terms of cost, but at the same time it's healthy with the flours that we use and the gums that we use. All of them actively add nutritional value when you eat this. So I think that's the kind of compromise that actually help us go forward and temper all of our innovations.
Plus it's vegan, so that's already healthy enough. I don't know.
In my case, it's just the weekly meetings are actually not that much of a hassle, and within the week we actually see what kind of workload we all have 2 weeks going forward, and then plan the sprint accordingly. So it's not about doing things ad hoc, it's planning 2 weeks in advance every time and catching up every week. So it's usually done on time, and since we already have a heads up what the next 2 weeks are going to be like, we plan our workflow accordingly, right? And obviously it does clash with your time, but this is where you actually learn and actually implement something, right? So it's kind of negotiable that way.
It's about prioritizing, right? It's about knowing that this is something which you want to do in your free time because you're really passionate about it. It's something that I really enjoy doing personally. It's it motivates me to even do my academics personally. So I shifted my entire academic curriculum to more sustainability focused things to be able to achieve this dream of bringing this to a bigger scale. So definitely prioritizing is a big part of it. So you plan your schedule, you understand how you're going to schedule for these activities as well, and have time to just relax and simply do your hobbies. So, and also have time with your friends. So as long as you're having a realistic estimate of your time and being easy on yourself as well, I think is really important.
When you're guided by your deadlines, that's when the problem I think starts happening, because your schedule does not really remain yours anymore. It's like ruled by whatever the next deadline is. So I think looking beyond that helps. So creating a slightly longer term goal in terms of looking at an entire month or say entire quarter and seeing what are the activities that you need to accomplish, and creating time, blocking your time accordingly. So that really helps. Looking a bit too far in the future than just looking at your next week or immediate future. So I think that is when you get to know what are the free time slots that you have and how you can make the best of that. So I think that is a good advice.
I think it's also about the fact that it's actually not work for us. We actually really enjoy doing this. So it's not like taking out time to work on this apart from academics. That's not the perspective at all. It's okay, when am I going to be done with my academics, and then let's see how I can take this forward. Because again, this is not a job. This is something that we actually believe in and actually enjoy doing on a daily basis. So that's where the time management automatically becomes easier, because it's not a slog anymore. It's something you enjoy.
Okay, thank you again, guys, so much for coming here and taking time out of your busy day. Where can we find you online?
Thank you for having us, first of all, and you can find us on Planeteers_HK on Instagram, and then also on LinkedIn. You can search us up as Planeteers HK.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
And catch us on the next episode of the Base Broadcast.
Which will come out in next
Cut.
Olympics.